Okay, welcome guys. Today is March 14th, and this is the second recorded Zoom live session. So as usual, we'll be analyzing US 30 gold and EU. So currently on US 30, these are the markups we have. So US 30 has just broken above an hourly bullish high and it's rejecting to the upside. So let's start from the top down, right? Let's start from a higher time frame and see if our bias is still bearish overall. So when we go on the daily, we can see that we have a death cross right here on the daily, and price hasn't closed above the 9 EMA on the daily. When we come to the 4 hours, price is just recently closing above the 4 hour, above the 9 EMA. The hourly, which is what I use since we are doing the live session for like an hour and a half. So price closed above the hourly, and then ideally trying to retest the 9 EMA, and then it's rejecting up. So currently on the short term, we have a bullish bias on US 30. So if we look at where US 30 is headed for a possible reversal, because overall, remember, our overall bias is a sell all the way to the 29,000 area. So the next stop after this will be 31,200 area, then 30,200, and then 29,000 area. So if we want to ride price down so if price comes back down here, so we see we have a demand zone down here around 31,766, which is where price literally rejected from this morning. So during CPI, we had this drop, tapped that demand literally to the pip. So if I reset this, you'll see that it tapped that literally to the pip and went all the way up. So if you're looking for a reversal, so the next sells for US 30, we do have a supply zone up here around 32,300 area. So if I bring this chart down, this is where we have that sell zone, right? And this is perfect. It aligns with an hourly bearish high and low. And then we have that zone. So if you were to take any sells here for any stop loss, make sure your stop loss is above the weekly high. So here, a sell on US 30, let's see how big this zone is. 32,300, 32,342. So this is a 40 point zone. So it's ideally a small zone for US 30. This can get taken out by just one 1 minute candle. So for any particular sells, I would look to first sell US 30 in the middle of this zone. So I'll divide, as always, we divide these zones into two. So it's 32,340, 32,300, right? So half of that will be around 32,320. And then here we have let me make sure my EU. So I'm in EU sales from CPI. So I'm up pretty heavily. I'm up, I think, maybe 40 pips or so. So let's see. So here, the first short position on US 30 will be around 32,320. Stop loss above the weekly high. So this is like a 40-point stop loss. Ideally, our stop losses are 50 points. Now, if you want to go heavy lot size, put your stop loss above this zone right here if you want to do like a heavy lot size. But ideally, your stop loss should be above the weekly high, the current weekly high. And then for this one, I would say ride it to the previous daily low. The next sell on US 30. So remember, for these zones, we normally have three entries, but because this zone is like a 40-point zone, it's ideally a small zone, so no need to have like 3 entries. So for this last trade, you can put your stop loss ideally above Friday's high. Write that down. Now, remember how we did this, right? So this is a filler trade, the first one. If price goes so far or so aggressively against you, change how you enter this trade. Wait for our strategies where we need price to close below the 9 EMA on the 5-minute and then re-enter. So if price goes aggressively against you on this filler trade, right? Because on filler trades, this is what we want. I'm sorry. On filler trades, this is what we want. We want at the very least price to come around here, and then we want price to come here. right? And then for the next trade, that's how you know you have a valid filler trade. The next trade should be here. And then ideally, let's see, this way, right? But if you have a scenario where prices, if you have a scenario where this comes and then it goes this way and stops you out without even retracing down, and you have a pending order up here, delete this order and then wait for a confirmation. So those are the entries I have for US 30. So pending sell at 32,320, the other one at 32,340. Okay, so right now, the other way we can do it, right? We've done this before. If we know that price is likely to go up here and retrace down, we can find some entry to ride US 30 up. So the entry we can have here, so we have an hourly bullish high and bullish low here. And then if we divide this into two, so 32,040, 31, I'll call it 990. So this would be 25, 15. So if we get a tap, so I would be looking to try and ride US 30 up from 32,015. Right? But this one I'm definitely going to use confluences. So put my stop loss below the 30-minute bearish high. So this would be, this is a filler lot. So this wouldn't be a big lot size. So if price does come down there, let me know. Gold. Okay, so let's analyze CPI for today, right? So ideally how we trade CPI, we trade the first 5-minute candle after news. So this is the CPI candle. So I'll just go ahead and put this in replay mode. So US 30, gold, and EU did the same thing. Actually, let me show you guys EU because that's that's the trade I'm in. So exit, yes. So if US 30 comes down here, somebody just give me a shout. Okay, so I'll do EU, which is what I traded today. So this morning in EU, so remember, for me in the morning after doing my markups, I always draw trend lines. I always draw trend lines on my MT4. So that's the trend line I have. And then this is the trend line I have on my MT4. That's the trend line I have on my MT4. There. And then I have another trend line here. I think it came here. So I'm just trying to redo what I have on my MT4. So I'm trying to get that, right? So for me, personally, what I see drawing these two trend lines, I see this as an M pattern. So top, neckline right here, top. So I was expecting a drop, right? So during CPI, let me reset this. Let me do the replay. Okay. And then what I noticed, we had a supply zone right here, and we had an hourly bearish high and an hourly bearish low, right? So the first thing I did, I entered a 2-lot sell. I'm sorry, was it 2-lot or was it 5-lot? It was a 2-lot sell down here. So that's on a 200K account. And then let's replay this. So immediately CPI came out, I was in profit this much, right? I was in profit about 30 pips on a 2-lot. Okay, then price came back up again. Okay, so for CPI, remember the strategy is, I think I went too far. Retry this. Okay, so for CPI, for CPI, NFP, FOMC, what we need is the first news candle, the first 5-minute news candle, to either be a strong bearish candle or a strong bullish candle. So what do I see here? It's a bearish candle, sure, but it's not a strong bearish candle because we have a big wick to the bottom. So this wick to the bottom is what's that, 20 pips, 30 pips, or 25 pips. So for me, I need little to no wick at the top or at the bottom, right? But what this tells me is that, so I remember price first dipped down. So what this tells me is that there was a lot of buyers down here that pushed price up because it dipped down and then went all the way up here, right? Where did it go? To the Monday high, which is yesterday, which is also now the weekly high. So when it came up here, I know there's a lot of sellers right here. Okay, that's perfect. So I'm not going to use the strategy we use. So the strategy we use, if this was a strong bearish candle, we want to wait for a retracement up and then sell, right? We don't want to try to catch the bottom or whatnot. We want to go with the flow. But today, and this happened on US 30, gold, and EU. So today it was kind of indecisive. So what happened after this candle? So the next trade I was looking at was a closure and retest of this trend line right here. So in this particular candle, this candle, the next candle didn't close and didn't retest on this trend line, but I did see this hourly bearish high and hourly bearish low, and I already know there's a lot of sellers sitting up here. So I hammered a 20 lot. I hammered a 20 lot up here. And then when price kept going up, I waited for this candle, right? So I expected, so my stop loss was above here and this stop loss was about 20 pips. So what I saw when this candle broke above the trend line, this particular candle broke above the trend line, I was like, okay, maybe my stop loss is going to be hit. That's fine. But then I saw this candle, but I already know there's sellers up here that popped up during CPI. So I saw this candle break down and close below that trend line. And then I saw this candle come up here. So this for me, I did an impulsive sell. It was a 5 lot. So I sold down here with a 5 lot. So remember, I have a 5 lot here, I have a 20 lot here, and I had like a 2 lot around here. So, and this is the importance of a trend line. Comes down, rejects on this trend line. That's perfect. I'm still expecting EU to go down. I see this candle to the top. I see this retest. I didn't add any sales. So for me, I'm just, waiting for this trend line to be held. And then right now, we can see already where EU already is. So I'm up in profit about 30 or 40 pips. So I have like 3 sales up here. And I think I'll just close them out right now. We do have a trend line coming up here. So I'll just delete this. So this is the importance of drawing trend lines. For me, as I've told you guys yesterday and a few times before, I draw them on MT4 and I do not delete them. If you prefer drawing them on TradingView, that's fine. But for me, I don't want the chart to have too many lines. But this is the importance of drawing trend lines. So I'll just go and close my EU
Is there
trades.
any reason why it wouldn't work in MT4, the trend lines? Because mine's for some
No,
reason,
no, it works on MT4.
I
What
don't
do you
know
mean?
why mine is not working.
What do you mean it's not working?
Do you mind do a quick analysis on British pound and Japanese?
Sure. We normally don't trade that, but I can try and do that. Give me let me first set any pending orders. So this is because normally we try, if there's no entry, we try to set pending orders for the day. So these are the pending orders for US 30. This buy for me is not a pending order. It's more of a market execution order. So let's wait for US 30 to come down here. And then I'll do GJ after I'm done analyzing these pairs. So gold is the same thing, right? Look at this. So this zones, when I send these zones in the chat, so if we go back to our Discord, look at indices, right? I don't know if US 30 touched anything. any sell zone. US 30 did not because it was a little high. So gold did, right? So let's go to our gold. So gold is under commodities, right? I sent this markup for today. So gold shot up all the way to 1911. So right here, you can see that this is that 1911 zone because this is a 30-minute chart. So gold went and tapped exactly this zone. So that's the other way you can do during news time. If I send up this markups and you see this high time frame bullish or bearish zones or this supply, so the demand zones are shaded in red. The supply zones are shaded in red, the demand zones are shaded in green, right? So these demand zones, how I draw them, it's where high time frame order blocks overlap. So that's why this supply and demand zones don't have a bearish high or bearish low. It's just a strong area where high time frame order blocks overlap. So if you see these zones like during news, you can set yourself like a pending order there. So if you set a pending order here for CPI, you would have been in profit. Maybe look at that, maybe 100 pips like on the drop of this candle, right? So you can set either at the bottom, at the middle, or at the top. And because of news, sometimes you might not get filled in because of slippage. So let's see where gold is going. On the high time frame, gold is about to close below the 9 EMA. And now we can see, and remember right here, there's a gap that was almost filled, right? So for here, for gold, I don't know, gold might be a sell as well. And you can see this structure, right? Literally looking at this chart, I can see a structure. I can see this. That's a trend line. I can see this structure right here. And I can see this structure right here that needs to be completed to the bottom, right? But do we have a sell area on gold? That's the question. So other than this up here, I don't see any sell zone for gold. So nothing for me, nothing for gold. But if gold does come back up here, so remember what we said, since we have those news of like banks, some banks failing, gold is a safe haven, and gold can definitely push all the way to 20,000. What was that? No, I'm sorry, between 1940 and 1960, and all the way up to like 2060, right? So this is the last saving grace for gold right here. So let's see how long or how much this zone has been retested. So for me, if gold comes back up here, I wouldn't be looking to sell gold because we see the bottom, the middle, and the top of this zone of this supply zone has already been tested. So I wouldn't be looking to sell gold if gold does come back up here. So again, we have a 30-minute bullish low, 30-minute bullish high. So this might be an area to buy gold. So what I do here, I come in here. Let me see, okay. You guys let me know when US 30, but you can see that rejection to the top. But I didn't want to buy at the top of that zone. So I'm looking to buy US 30. Maybe I should set an alert, but that's fine. I'm already up in profit so heavily today, so I'm not looking to do any other trades. So gold, this zone right here, I would be looking to buy gold if it retaps 1902.86. So let me just mark this up so that I can send them in the group after and this I believe is like, you can do 20 pips. No, I'm sorry, 100 pips. So around there. Stop loss below the 30-minute bullish low, or since we already have a structure down there. So this is a 20 pip stop loss for gold. So that's the gold trade that I see for today. Reset chart. Let's see the middle of this zone. So this is 1910, this is 1902. That's 4, so half is about 1906. So the second gold buy is around here. So always use our strategies. So we've gone over these strategies, how to enter these trades. Same thing, stop loss below the previous low. So those are the trades. I'll send this in the group. EU, So EU, it's coming back to the daily bearish high. Honestly, I don't want to trade this daily bearish high because it's been tested so much. So we have a daily bearish high here, and let's see where the daily bearish low is. So this is a sell zone for EU. I'm not looking to trade this bearish zone again because it's been tested too many times. So let's see if we can catch a trade on US 30 on the live session right now. So I'll come here, draw my trend line on the 1 minute since we're looking to enter market execution. So we want to start our trend line on the 1 minute.
I think the gold just hit 1902, whatever number you said.
Okay, so for this one, unless you have a pending buy order, and remember this is a filler trade, right? So for filler trade, normally your stop loss on gold is 50 pips. So if you're doing a pending order or if you're entering on market execution, do a 50 pip stop loss. So this is 1902. So 50 pip stop loss would be 1897-ish area. That's 8. Yeah, I think if I'm not wrong, whatever 50 pips stop loss is, that's if you're doing a pending order. So, but you can see here, price is about to close above the 9 EMA on gold, right? So wait for the closure and retest of the 9 EMA and closure above. So we need this candle. We need this candle, 5-minute candle, to close above the 9 EMA, and then we need the next candle to retest the 9 EMA and close above. So that's what's going to confirm an entry on gold. So right now I'm looking to enter US 30. Again, I'm already heavily up in profit for the day, so I am not looking to
How much is heavily?
heavily. So with the so I did the math, 20, I mean, I'll post in the group, right? I did the math. So right, I had a 20 lot, I had a 5 lot, and I had a 2 lot on EU. They went up 30 pips in profit. So you can do the math on that. So this is what I'll draw for US 30. So remember what our entry is. Our entry is either on the retest of the 9 EMA or retest of structure. So which would be like this high low, or this actually high low right here. Or what's the other one? 9 EMA and the trend line, or retest of the trend line, right? So if we've drawn that and we trade on the 5-minute, we go back to the 5-minute candle. Now, if you guys see, we are about to form a bullish hammer candle. So you guys know that every trade we've taken from a bullish hammer candle has won. So if this closes as a bullish hammer candle, I might take a buy and then stop loss below the low of that candle. So let's see how long the wick is. So the wick is about 40 pips. So that's 32 pips, sure. But it has to close as a strong bullish hammer candle. We can't have a wick at the top. So for this particular trade, this is the optimum place for me to enter, but you can see that this entry is below the trend line. So I'll move my entry to the top of this bullish zone. So around 32,039. Because what might happen here, right? We're anticipating that this zone, remember our trend lines are normally hanging trend lines, right? So we have a lower low here. So we're anticipating that this will be the next high low that will be created. So that's why we are calling this a hanging trend line, because this zone hasn't been set up on the 5-minute, but on the 1 minute, this zone is already set up as a structural area. So it's a lower low, but then it's, price is trending up. So let's see if we get an entry here. And remember, we are riding price up so that we enter the sell here, right? Because there's no need to waste this whole space in between. But if price comes in between here, honestly, I wouldn't be looking to do anything. I would either wait for price to come back down here or price to come to the top here. So never ever trade. I mean, you can if you want, but I wouldn't advise you to trade if there are no markups. Like ideally, I would call it no man's land. So This one won't close. I don't think it's gonna close as a bullish hammer candle. Let's see. Okay. If you enter this, don't use a big lot size. Remember, stop loss below this low, and ideally go for 20 points profit. So we're getting a strong bullish hammer candle. Okay, so I'm in that trade. Remember, stop loss below here. If you want to be safe, let the stop loss be below the trend line. So let me do this. So that's a trade right there. I'm going for a 50 point. So remember, price can come back all the way down. So this stop loss will be below the low of that candle. Okay, and this is perfect. On my MT4, I have a trend line that's going up here and price. So there's a trend line going up here and price is literally retesting that trend line. So this is the importance of trend lines. So there you go. Perfect.
You said it was a 50 point TP or 20?
Yeah, 50 point TP. So right now I'm 20 points in profit, set break even if you've used a big lot size. There you go. Still 20 points in profit, set break even again if you've used a big lot size. For me, I'm holding this because I can afford to risk this based on my EU profit. So this trade should be BE right now. So our trades set break even when you're 20 pips in profit. Now, if you've used a filler trade like a small lot size, you can risk it, right? You can risk that. If you've used like a 1 lot or a 2 lot on a 200K account, you should be able to risk that, like risk 200 to make 200 or 400. So I'm still in that trade, but the perfect thing, I can show you guys how my MT4 looks. And for me, I'm not worried about this trade because it's lining up with we haven't had a losing trade off of this. But again, keep in mind, I'm counting this as break even right now because ideally you should have taken. And for me, I used a 25 lot. So in 20 pips profit, you can tell how much that was. So that's ideally what you'd need as a daily goal to pass your challenge in whatever. In 2.5 weeks. So if you had set break even, you should be out of that trade right now. If you want to hold with me, that's fine. Let me show you guys how my MT4 looks. Give me 1 second. Share. Okay, perfect. Share this. You guys can see the snipping tool, right? So again, I don't delete any trend lines I have, and you can see I have a 25 lot. Oh wait, I didn't do an automatic stop loss. That's fine. So look at these trend lines that I drew, right? All of them have been holding. Even during CPI, I had this trend line here. You can see the CPI candle came, retested my trend line, shot all the way up. The trade we just took right here, this candle right here is retesting the trend line. So this is a perfect thing, right? It's retesting and going up. So it might come back down and take us out or take me out, because if you entered the trade with me, you should have been out at break even, or you should have secured at 20 points. And then you can see how this zone is being respected. So this is the importance of this trend lines right here. So I'll close this and go ahead and share the other chart I had. What is that? It's this one. Share. Okay, so personally, I'm still in this trade. If you didn't secure at 20 pips and set break even, you should be out of that trade at break even. But you saw for me, I went in with a 25 lot. So the other thing with these trades, you don't have to go for 50 points take profit. So 50 point take profit is our ideal take profit, but if you're 20 points in profit, so let's say you use the 10 lot, right? If you use the 10 lot and you're 20 points in profit, what's that? If you use the 10 lot and you're 20 points in profit, that's 200. If you're 30 points, that's 300, right? So this one, and let's say you have a funded account, you'd have made like 200 for the day or whatnot. That's a good amount of money. So no need to go for 50 points in profit. Now, if we got this bullish hammer candle down here, then sure, we would have had price maybe push up there. But remember, our ideal buy of US 30 is around this zone. Or the other way, if we had this bullish candle close literally above this trend line, and then we had a retest exactly on this trend line, that would have been again another perfect entry. But right now, we see where our perfect buy for US 30 is. It's all the way down here. So any trade right here, even though it's going to push up a little bit, we expect US 30 to come back down here to our ideal entry. Now, again, remember how I trade trend lines. If I'm in a buy up here and I see a retest of this trend line, I might enter on impulse to try and catch this reversal or to the upside. So what I'll do right now, and this is just, if you want to do it with me, that's fine. I'm going to enter another buy on US 30. And that's on impulse. But again, so use proper risk management. So I'm expecting this buy or this candle right here to reject to the upside and respect this trend line. And again, I still have another trend line that will coincide with this entry we have down here. So I have a trend line that's coinciding. Now for that particular trade against this trend line, since I'm already in with a lot size here and a lot size here, for this trade, I will wait to enter with confluences. So I need my confluences to align for me to enter this buy to the top. Because remember, we expect US 30 to go down. This is the best place to sell US 30. So the reason we are buying here is to ride or catch price up here. So for this one, I'm not going to enter on impulse, even though it comes in at the hourly bullish high. So what happens here, what I'll do, I'll go to the 1 minute. So I have a higher high, I have a lower low here. Now, if this low gets broken and a lower low gets established, maybe that's the point to cut my trades out. But for right now, I'm still holding my trades. So EU is also back up. So if these assets are trending back up, so EU gold and US 30 ideally move the same. So if they're trending back up, I don't know if anybody entered this gold trade. If you had a pending order, I didn't have a pending order set, but if you had a pending order set, and I did say for this pending order, let it be a small lot size, like a filler buy, right? So for me, a filler buy on gold on a 200K, I think I do 2 lots or something. 2 lots, risk 5, stop loss 50 points or 50 pips, so that if I lose that trade, I lose 1,000. 1,000 would be 0.5% of my 200K. So that's not too bad. For this trade, 1902 to 1906, with a 2 lot, you'd have been up $800 at the height of this candle. So if anybody had set that pending order that I say
got
that.
in, but I got out early. I just
Oh.
took a little $150 profit.
Okay, perfect. I mean, that's good. Just baby steps like that. US 30. So this is the only trades that I'm in. And US 30 rejected against. So this trend line, I have a trend line here on my MT4. So if you guys saw my copy of MT4, you did see there was another trend line here. So it rejected exactly at this trend line. But this is what I want to see right here. Gold, if you're in this trade, let's see, if you entered with a heavy lot size or with a huge lot size, set break even at 20 pips. So you should already be break even for this trade. So that's a perfect trade. EU, we didn't have any EU trades. So look at this, right? We have a daily bearish high. So I did say that I'm not trading this daily bearish high and bearish low zone again, because we had this zone being tested multiple times. We had the top, the bottom, and yesterday I did mention that I've seen bearish zones turn to bullish zones, right? So here already I can tell this is a 5-minute order block right here, this candle. So this would be like a 5-minute bullish high, 5-minute bullish low, but I don't trade 5-minute order blocks, but I can tell this candle right here is an order block. Now, this daily bearish high, which is coupled, I think, with a 30-minute bearish high, 15-minute bearish high, but of course the high time frame candle overlaps any low time frame. So to me, this daily bearish high was used as a bullish zone. So you can see they tapped it exactly to the pip, and price reversed all the way back up. So once you have a level, even though it's a high time frame zone that has been tested like a lot of times, if you have such a zone that has been tested too many times, do not trade it anymore, because if you entered a EU sell at this zone right here, you would have been automatically in drawdown all the way up here. So keep in mind for that. Okay, so the other buy I entered on impulse was here. Where was that? It was retest of this trend line. Yes, yes, yes. It was retest of this trend line. Again, I'm going for 50 pips. But I'm just trying to, at this point, I'm trying to get out of both of these trades. I don't feel like holding these trades for that long. So for 50 points, it should be hitting take profit right about now, because I entered on impulse. So 50-point take profit, 50-point stop loss. So right now, even this trade, if you entered with me on impulse, this trade for you should be at break even. You should be up like 30 points. So whether you entered on break even, whether you entered this trade down here on impulse, even better, right? So remember, so if price ever goes against you like this, don't worry about it, right? So we've been waiting on this trade this whole time, and then price went against us this whole time, right? So don't keep pushing your entry to the top, right? The only reason we entered up here is because we know we've won with this trade. The reason we entered here is because we know price is rejecting, and this trade should have hit take profit for 50 pips or 50 points if I'm not wrong, right? Yeah, the second one. The reason we entered here, or personally I entered here, was the retest of this trend line. So I was expecting this trend line to hold, which it did. Price faked to the downside, came all the way back up and close up on that trend line. But if I hadn't entered this second trade and I was looking to recover this trade that for me I didn't set break even because I have a lot of profit to risk, I would have entered on impulse here. And again, what would have happened? Straight into profit. So I don't know if anybody caught this trade on impulse right there, or if anybody caught this trade with me the second one. So either way, you should be in profit. So that's another, what's that? Profit. This should be in profit. I did not enter this trade personally, so I'm not going to count that as me entering. And also I didn't, for me, I didn't set a pending order on gold. EU, so EU is at a supply zone, right? So it's back to where it was before. So how do we want to approach this? So for me here, I'll go to the chart and see how much this area has been tested. So let me go to a higher time frame, 30-minute time frame. So this area, it started off around here with this. I don't think it's with this candle. I don't know. I must have marked it up either on the 4-hour, hourly, or 30. No, so this supply and demand zones, I mark them off of weekly zones, which don't show up often. So I'm pretty sure it's not that. So either weekly, daily, 4-hour, or 1-hour zones. So this zone right here, it's been tested once with price coming back down. So if I was to enter any sell on EU, I would look to short it between this hourly bearish high and hourly bearish low. So to me, this zone, this supply zone for now, it's not as relevant anymore. So I would be looking at this zone right here to short EU. So that's the zone I'd be looking for sales, and I wouldn't sell at the bottom. So I would sell at the top of that zone because even that zone has been tested. So I would sell at the top. That's 1.07332. So ideally our stop loss on EU or pairs is 20 pips. So this would be 532. So stop loss at 20 pips, stop loss would be all the way up here. And you can see we have another sell zone all the way here. So this would be a filler trade, right? Because what do I see up here? If this zone has been, if this supply zone right here has been taken out, look at this zone up here that hasn't been retested. So actually what I'll do, go ahead and delete that order because I've seen, this is the next zone, 1.07914, 1.0556. So my first sell on EU would ideally be, I don't think I want to sell at the bottom of this zone. If it's a filler trade, sure. Bottom of that zone, stop loss above the daily bullish high. So ideally go for like a 50-50. So this would be 50. Let's see how this is gonna take us. Oh, should be 500 because it's EU. Okay. So ideally stop loss above that zone. So that's the first trade. The second trade is the middle of this zone. So this looks like the middle, and you can see in the middle, we do have a daily bullish low. So just be careful about that zone. Just do even for this one 50-50. The last trade, the last sell on EU would be this. So I'll try to send the exact numbers on EU. So again, if price goes against you heavily, so this is a filler trade. This is a small lot size, right? So, oh, wait, I gotta go back to my US 30. I think I'm up heavily again. There you go. Wait, this is, oh, so yeah, so this trade hit take profit for me. The other trade, I'm up 50 points, so I'm back in profit. Let's see. So today is definitely a good day. Okay, for me, I'll close this as at 20 pips profit, this second trade. So all the trades we took today are straight into profit, no trade hit stop loss. So this trade right here, if you hadn't set break even, ideally it would have taken you out because remember stop loss is below that zone. But I did say for this first trade, set break even after 20 points. So if you did wait with me when I said I was still in, you should have adjusted your stop loss and either removed it or put it somewhere below here. And then if you entered with me this second trade, you should have been in profit. Even for this particular trade, the second trade, if you did put stop loss, the stop loss didn't hit because remember our stop loss for US 30 is 50 points. Yeah, so you should be in profit. So I secured, wow, I'll send the results in the group. So wow, today's a good day. All right, so gold, EU. So the way we approach these trades, if you do enter this trade, use a small lot size. Definitely use a small lot size because you can see this zone is a 40 pip zone. The bottom of this zone and the top of this zone is a 40 pip zone or 35 pip zone. Yeah, ideally 35 pip zone. Yeah, so then if the trade goes like heavily against you with a filler trade, what do? Delete this order and delete this order. The second order will be at the top. So if price comes up here and keeps shooting up, like trending up, and you have this order. So if price, let's say price comes up here, so instead of reversing to the downside after a couple of pips, and keeps going and going and going and going and going above the 9 EMA, go ahead and delete this order and set this order to be up here. So delete this. So delete these two orders and you'd then put your second entry to the top of this zone. Now, if price doesn't reach up here for your second order and price breaks above and closes, price breaks below the 9 EMA and closes below the 9 EMA, now delete this pending order and reset your pending order down here so that when price comes down, it fills you and then you're straight into profit. Does anybody have any questions for US 30, gold, or EU? So all those trades are in profit. Personally, I only entered these 2 trades right here. I'm looking to sell US30 there. So if you did enter here, you can write this trade all the way up here. So, you know, this trades, so don't mind, well, don't care. Don't mind whether it's a news day or not. There's always gonna be entries. The only thing you have to be is patient. Because here, if you try to chase this, if you try to chase a buy here, you'd have gotten stopped out. But if you just waited like this, you know, when I say this is the ideal buy or sell zone, unless I say shift it, do not shift it, right? This is the ideal buy zone. So even though price went up and up and up, remember price came back and filled us in. And the other thing, most of the trades that I enter are ideally, no, well, I don't want to say most. A good number of trades I enter are 0 drawdown trades. If you've seen my markups, most of the trades that I send or I even enter on the live, we have like 0 drawdown. So don't worry. Like when I say this is the ideal place, it's fine. Find something to do, set an alert on your phone, set a pending order, and just go and do your thing. If anybody has any question for gold and EU or US30, go ahead and ask. If not, let's try and do the analysis for GJ, even though I normally don't trade GJ, but we can try and do that analysis. Does anybody have any question for US30, gold, or EU regarding anything that we've done today?
No.
No? Okay. And see EU right here, we have those, so we have those, is this EU? Yeah, we have those supply zones. So they're still holding, but we've already tested them a lot. So let's see, let me try and make a copy and do GJ. Save. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do the bearish and bullish markup. So for the person who wanted an analysis of GJ, what did you want to see on GJ? Because if I do a top down, it might take a while because I need to start from the weekly all the way to the 30-minute, and that's definitely going to take a lot of time. So is there a specific question you had on GJ?
I just want to know, like, in the next 2 hours, what's the expectation for it? That's all.
Okay, so let's see GJ. So to the right is my high. So I always have 2 charts, lower time frame chart, 5-minute on my left, which is what I used to trade. Higher time frame, 1 hour on my right. So, okay, so let me start with the daily. So the indicators we have, again, we have the 9 EMA, we have the 200 EMA, and then we have the higher high, lower low strategy. So, so if I were to redo or get rid of these indicators, this is how I would reset them on any given chart, right? So EMA, I just do moving average exponential. I do it again because I need 2 of those. I come up here, set this, it's already at 9. For me, the 9 is blue. I like it a bit bigger. And then for the next one, 200 EMA. And I also, you know, make videos about these strategies and how to set everything up. I just, you know, it's a slow process. So I'm considering this a startup. So, okay, so I have those 2. Then I have the higher high, lower low strategy with source code, that one. So I don't have to change anything on that. You can change the color of the candles. So if you want to do that, you come, I think it's bar. Yes, bar color. You just leave everything by default. So left bars and right bars, this just tells you when a zone or when a lower high is going to be established. So this means it's going to be established after 5 candles. If you want it to be after 3 candles, after 2, go ahead and set that. But for me, I don't change that. Then I come here. Okay, let's see. On the daily, this is what I see. On the daily, price hasn't closed above the 9 EMA for a while on the daily. This is the first time price is closing above the 9 EMA. We still have, what is this, 6 hours for that, for this candle to close. Okay. So that's not going to help us for the next 2 hours. But we know right now GJ is bullish. Okay, on the 4 hour, price closed above right here on the 9 EMA. So on the 4 hour, price is on the 4 hour price is bullish. But right now, automatically, I can see an order block right here, right? So this one I would mark up as a 4 hour. 4-hour bearish high and 4-hour bearish low. When I look to the left, so this is what I'll do. Okay, so to me, this is the point of interest. If for any reversal is the high there, this zone right here. So for any sells on GJ, this is a zone of interest for me. So let's see how big that zone is. 64, 255, 63, 550. So that's what? Maybe
700,
80 pip zone.
70. Yeah.
Okay. So what I'll do, I will mark this zone between the high and the lower high of that zone, because I don't need, so for my entries, I want to be as precise as possible. I don't want to trade big zones. So if I know that price is likely to come up here, there's no need for me to start looking for sell entries down here. So that's the zone that I have right now on GJ, the sell zone. Okay, that's the 4-hour. I come to the 1 hour. What do I see? Perfect. You know, this is what I want to see. This is what I want to see. It lines up with this zone right here. Lines up with this zone right here. Just the, you know, just the bottom of that and a little bit the top of that. So this is what I want to see if I'm looking for sales. So again, the hourly, we are above the 9 EMA. We literally created a golden cross. So golden cross is when the 9 EMA crosses the 200 to the top. That signifies a bullish momentum. Death cross is the opposite, when the 9 EMA crosses the 200 to the bottom. So this would be a death cross. This would be a golden cross. So that's on the hourly. Hourly, remember, we are still bullish right here. We are still bullish. So I'll leave this on the hourly. Let me go on the 5 minute. Okay, so right now on the 5 minute, then I would come in here and draw my trend line. So this trend line would start. So your trend line should always start at a structural area. So at like a lower low, a higher high, or whatnot. So don't start a trend line on like a zone that hasn't been established. So I wouldn't start a trend line, for example, here. You know, this zone hasn't been established. It might hold, right? It might hold, but right, we want to be precise. So that's the first trend line I would draw. So when I draw trend lines, I make sure that they're in a channel, right? So I want the top and the bottom. So I think there's a channel tool right here, but I haven't used it that much. I'm still a little bit old school. So the other one that I'm seeing, I see this right here. So this is an equal high. So we have two higher highs on the same zone. So your trend line ideally should match the second zone, but if you the second structural area. If not, if you have a lot of them, you can overlap the second area and go to the third one. But right here again, we have another higher high. So you know, the third one will be ideally this way, but we also have higher highs up there. So what I'll do, I'll still keep this here to match the higher high. So to touch this higher high, touch the other higher high. So that's the trend line that I'll draw on the 5 minute. Normally, I also want to draw trend line going the opposite way, but right now I don't see any. I don't see any. So this is the only trend line I see. Okay, so what do we have right here? If I was entering, if I know this is a sell zone for GJ, and again, always also look for fundamentals. So I don't know what's going on with the GBP. I don't know what's going on with the pound. I'm just trading what the chart is telling me. So if I had drawn this earlier, right, this trend line has held, right? Nothing. This is the only time it broke above here. It broke above, retested the trend line. You can see that, right? Retested the trend line exactly, closed above the trend line. You had this inverted bullish hammer candle. So price goes up, creates a higher high. Then you have price. So if I had drawn this earlier and I was looking to sell GJ here, price closed below the trend line. Wait for the next candle and see what it's going to do. You want a retest and closure below. So if I was going to sell GJ here and this was earlier, this is how I would have entered this position. I would have sold GJ here. My stop loss is always 20 pips for FX pairs. So stop loss 20 pips. take profit, it depends how long you want to ride it, right? But for me, stop loss, and I do a 1-to-1. So stop loss 200, take profit 200. And some of this for FX pairs, what I've noticed is that they respect this, our zones, like almost to the T. So for here, maybe I would have gone with a 5 lot or even a 10 lot, risk 2,000, make 2,000, right? And these are, and I did talk about a new strategy that I'll be using to pass. And this is just for myself. I'm not passing challenges for people, but like I'll be telling you those zones, because for this zones, I'm only looking for 3 trades a month to pass phase 1 of a challenge. But normally I'm looking to trade from high time frame zones. So here we don't have any markups. It's because I haven't done any markups on GJ. But if I was trading this trade today and I had this marked up, I would wait for price to close. So this whole time, price hasn't closed or retested this trend line during this whole uptrend. This is the only time closed above, retested, went above, and then during this candle, it closed below and then retested, they tried to break above, closed below. So this is where I would have sold that, went for 20 pips. Ideally, you can try to go for 50 pips if you have like a daily zone, hourly 4-hour zone. Yeah, you can do that. But that's how you make a quick 20 pips. So right now, where do I see it going? I see at the very least price coming down to this trend line, to test this trend line. Now, if price comes to test this trend line, it might go reject a little bit. Again, here, I don't have any, unfortunately, I don't have any markups for GJ because we don't trade GJ. So I would be curious to know if we have like, so we can tell we already have a 4-hour bearish zone here. So that's good. That's one, right? So unless we have a daily bullish zone or a weekly bullish zone up here, I still expect GJ to keep melting. The next entry, so remember our entries, either a break of structure, break of the trend line, no, break of structure and retest of structure, retest of the trend line, or break and retest of the 9 EMA, right? I see another entry here. When was the first time price closed above, closed below the 9 EMA? Right here, closed below the 9 EMA, retested the 9 EMA, closed below. This is another trade right there. This would have been the next trade you'd have taken right now. And right now you'd be around break even. And you can see price is being held down by the 9 EMA. So right now I see price going to this zone. I don't know at what point, but retesting this trend line and rejecting up. Now, for you, if you want to enter another sell on GJ, and I don't know if you'll be in front of the charts, so we can see the bottom of this zone and the middle have been retested. If price comes back up, the next sell for GJ for me would be at the top of this zone. So around 164, 238, and then try and write that down back to the trend line. Do a 200 pip stop loss or whatnot. Yeah, so this is the next best sell for this trade. So if price comes here, do not sell. This again is a terrible place to sell because we've tested the bottom of this zone. This is the middle of this channel. If price comes to the middle, I don't think again you should sell because it's been retested exactly to the pip and price dropped below. So this is the only area up here that hasn't been sold. So this is the optimum sell zone for GJ. So if this zone gets broken, I don't know. Price might shoot all the way up. But yeah, that's my analysis for GJ. Do you have any other question for GJ?
No, I think that's a good explanation right there.
Okay, perfect. So look at that, US 30, literally what we said, right? Some of these trades, we can take trades both ways. We expect US 30 to break back down. But there's no need for us to waste all this space in here, right? Remember, every candle is somebody making money, or every candle is an opportunity to make money. You can close your eyes and do buy and sell or whatnot, and you're gonna either make or lose money. But because we have these zones for us, we know that if we're expecting US 30 to come up here and US 30 is already down here, let's sell. And I think this is a question somebody had asked me a few weeks ago. like if we're expecting a sell, you know, why aren't we selling? And before we didn't have any bullish or bearish markups, but this is perfect, right? And I think before I hadn't started drawing supply and demand zones. So right now, since we have supply and demand zones, and also we have the bullish and bearish markups, this is why we, you know, we are doing like a lot of winning trades every day. So gold, you should have been out at break even. It's back at entry. Price is closing above. Price is retesting exactly that entry. But this trade should have been out at break even. But you can see US 30 is trending up. EU, I see them trying to break this. This is, you know, it's being held by the 9 EMA. I still expect gold to go up and tap some liquidity for a sell up here. Yeah. So this would be the, let's see if this would be an ideal buy. Yeah, so this buy on gold still holds for now. Yeah, so this is the sell zone for gold up here, 1914 and 1911. I'll try to send those in the group. But for this sell, it would be, so I did say we've tested the bottom, middle, and top. So I wouldn't try to sell at the middle, at the bottom, at the middle, maybe at the top. Let's see how far gold can push up. I don't think we're gonna get to 1940. So right now, honestly, yeah, ignore the sell on gold. Look for buys on gold. Look for gold to keep going up. So look at this, right? This is exactly what I'm talking about. Price retesting exactly our markups, literally right there. Yeah, so for gold, this other next sell, this other next buy is still valid. So if you're in this buy and you want to get into this buy, just use proper risk management. Since I know it's almost 11 and we stopped trading at 11. EU, I made money on EU this morning, so I don't see any other. So you can see how this area is holding, but I do see them breaking this to the upside. Did anybody re-enter this trade on gold? So this would have been another trade within a trade. So this is what you see, right? Sometimes you'll see these candles, a break, a strong bearish candle, a strong bullish candle. So what happened here? We had a strong bearish candle. This is the candle that took you out of break even if you're still holding this trade, but then you see this strong bullish candle coming back up. And then what next candle do we see? We see a perfect retest of our entry and closure above the 9 EMA. So for me, if I was trading gold, this would be a trade I would be in. I would have entered on market execution right there. And that would have been an easy 10 pips. So yeah, so I'm not in that trade, but I'm just showing you guys how you can trade these zones. What was the other thing I was thinking? And look at, see another trade right here, the candle we trade. So you can trade these candles on any asset, right? So what do you see here? This is a bullish hammer candle, right? We haven't lost a single trade trading this candle, and I think we've traded this candle like 6 or 8 times. So I see a bullish hammer candle here, enter on market execution. I'm expecting gold to go up here. So it's not like US 30, we're expecting US 30 to come back. When we entered that bullish hammer candle, you know, we knew US 30 could come back down here to pick up liquidity and go up. But for this one, if I was trading this bullish hammer candle on gold, for me, our bias for gold is going up. So here I would have ridden the whole 50 pips. There you go. I would have ridden the whole 50 pips. I would have been up about 40 pips or 45 pips at the height of this candle. So, and this one would have gone literally straight into profit. So what these candles do, they bring liquidity with them, right? So you can even go for 20 pips if you want. You can do a high lot size and go for 20 pips or even 10 pips if you want, right? So remember, these candles normally bring liquidity with them. So the one we've traded most is a bullish hammer candle. Let me try and find a bearish, an inverted bearish hammer candle. I don't think we've traded that just yet. I prefer US 30 because I'm normally able to see that better. We have another, no, this is bearish. Trying to find a bearish hammer candle. Hmm. I guess those don't come up often unless I'm missing them. I see a bullish hammer candle here, trying to find a bearish. And again, I changed the color of my candles to go with the trend. So that's why you guys will probably see a lot of red candles, a lot of green candles together, but that's the reason I did that. Okay, I don't see a good one. So the other thing I'm trying to do, I'm trying to get an indicator to help us find those those hammer candles. And so there's four kinds of candles I'm interested in. There's the bearish, what is that? Bullish hammer candle. That's the first one. So let me show you guys. Bullish. Okay, so this is what I talk about when I say bullish hammer candle. We want a strong wick to the bottom and then a closing body above. So how do I know when to enter? So for US 30, I'm not going to enter when a wick is ideally about 20 points. So I need a wick to be about 30 to 40 points long. So I need like the wick to be double the size of the body, or ideally so. So I'm not gonna enter when the wick is about 20 points and the body is 30 points. To me, that's not a bullish hammer candle. But this is what I mean when I talk about a bullish hammer candle. This is a bearish, the opposite. This is a bearish hammer candle, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, a bearish hammer candle. So for this particular trades, when you see this, especially during news, expect for the next candle to come down and fill this zone. So expect the next, and I'll show you guys like an example. I think I saw a few today. And I see the opposite of those. This is a inverted bullish hammer candle. So again, similar to this, when you see this, expect price to come back up and fill this zone. This is an inverted bearish hammer candle, and correct me if I'm wrong, sometimes I may confuse them. This is an inverted bearish hammer candle. When you see this, now this is the opposite of this bullish hammer candle up here. When you see this trade, ideally, so this candle comes with volatility, expect price to keep shooting down. I think there's something I missed telling you. Okay, yeah, so this is the one we haven't seen a lot, so that's the one I was trying to find. Yeah, so when you see this candle, expect price to keep going down. So that's the one we tried to find, but we couldn't. But so this is one of those. So this is a bearish hammer. Yeah, bearish hammer candle. So for this one, again, normally use them when you're going to the trend. So if you enter this and expect price to shoot to come down, you'd be trading against the trend. So we already had the trend line here. So this particular trade, so it doesn't mean that every candle is going to work out that way, right? So for this bearish hammer candle here, why couldn't we have entered a sell on the next candle, right? Which ideally would have been stopped out. No. Why couldn't we have entered a sell here, right? Go here, our stop loss is 50. So the reason we couldn't have sold this bearish hammer candle here is because why? Because we have a trend line here, we're expecting price to go up. So that's number one. So candlesticks, to me, trading candlesticks, I don't trade candlesticks just by themselves. I only trade them if they're in the direction of my bias. Here we entered this buy on the bullish hammer candle because our bias for US 30 was to go up, right? I couldn't enter a sell on this one. Now, if we were expecting US 30 to come down, yes, we could have entered a sell here. But so that's another thing to be wary about. But for this bullish hammer candles, all trades we've taken have gone straight into profit, either hit straight take profit or hit break even. So I know it's almost 11. I don't see nothing big to do. So I might end the stream early and then go ahead and mark these zones up properly and send them in the group if you guys want to set pending orders. So I don't know if anybody has any question. If you have any question, go ahead and ask it right now. If not, we can meet back here tomorrow. But today is another good day. All wins so far. I think since we started doing the live trading 2 or 4 weeks ago, we've only had like 2 losses or somewhat. So ideally we are up heavily. So that's a good thing. That's a good sign. Does anybody have any question?
No?
Okay, perfect. Then if that's the case, I'll send this in the Discord. So keep an eye out on these channels right here under owners area. So this is our Discord. So every morning I send markups of US30 in here. I send markups of gold. I send markups of EU. This is the other guy. So we have like 2 more admins or 3 more admins, Steven, Dean, and Audrey. So when they send things out, keep an eye on them. I would be also checking the DXY channel. So Steven normally sends a lot of trade ideas in there. And I've said this time and time again, he's definitely a much better trader than I am. So he's the one who got me into getting all these snipe entries. So I owe that to him. So because some of these things we trade US30, I'm sorry, gold and EU, they're pegged on the US dollar. So just check on the trades he's sending for the DXY, what he expects the US dollar to do. And then just go from there. Personally, I don't look at what the dollar is doing, but every trader has their own way of trading. So I know for him, he does that and it also works for him. So if you are a DXY trader, look in there. If you're not, if you're just looking to learn new things, go ahead and look in there. If you have any results taken during the live, so you can see these are the results people have been sending. Most of them, of course, are from me. I'll send mine today. And then just go ahead and share the channel with your friends or other like-minded traders so that we can keep growing. So here we are doing this ideally for free. Not ideally, my goal is to educate people. And then maybe one day when you guys are multi-millionaires, you'll just be like, oh, send me your account details so that I can throw you a milli. But anyway, I'll see you guys tomorrow, same time. All right, peace, guys.
Alright, thank you.
All right, bye.